Intro, Dark Waters Open. Welcome to Dark Waters. Today, we bring you a chilling story of a family torn apart by suspicion, disappearance, and death, the case of Nathan Carman. The ocean has always carried stories, some of adventure, some of tragedy. But once in a while, the sea doesn't just take lives, it swallows truth itself. In 2016, the Atlantic swallowed a mother, and returned her son. What happened between those waves is a mystery that still divides investigators, family, and the public. This is not just a tale of loss at sea. It's the unraveling of a family once held together by wealth, trust, and love, until greed and paranoia tore them apart. The Chocolos Legacy. The story begins with a wealthy man, John Chocolos, a real estate tycoon in Connecticut. His family seemed blessed, until greed and tragedy began to unfold. John Chocolos was a self-made millionaire, a builder who raised luxury communities across New England. He was a devoted husband, a proud father of 4 daughters, and later, a loving grandfather. To outsiders, the Chocolos family had everything: money, respect, and legacy. But within the family's walls simmered quiet tension, old rivalries, dependency, and unspoken resentment. Among his daughters, Linda was closest to him. She was bright, educated, gentle, and her son Nathan was John's favorite grandchild. From childhood, Nathan was seen as intelligent but socially isolated. He struggled to connect with others and was diagnosed with a developmental condition. Still, his grandfather adored him, supporting him financially and emotionally. But behind affection, something darker began to grow: suspicion, and a fear that privilege was creating distance rather than harmony. The murder of the patriarch. In 2013, 87-year-old John Chocolos was found shot dead in his Windsor home. The murder weapon? Missing. The only suspect? His grandson Nathan, but no charges ever filed. On a cold December night in 2013, police were called to John Chocolos' grand home in Windsor, Connecticut. The wealthy patriarch lay dead, shot once through the head. There were no signs of forced entry, no robbery, no struggle. Whoever killed him had likely been let in. Investigators quickly found that weeks before the killing, Nathan had purchased a Sig Sauer rifle, the same type that matched the ballistic evidence. But when questioned, he said he'd lost the gun. It was never recovered. Family members began whispering, could Nathan, the grandson John adored, have killed him? No charges were ever filed, but suspicion lingered like smoke in the halls of their once proud estate. And the inheritance? Divided among John's daughters, including Linda. Nathan received money too, indirectly. Enough to live comfortably, but not lavishly. Perhaps not enough for a young man who felt entitled to more. The troubled grandson. Nathan moved often, bouncing between Vermont and New Hampshire. He tinkered with boats, cars, and firearms. Neighbors described him as quiet, sometimes friendly, sometimes agitated. But something about Nathan made people uneasy. There was detachment, as if he lived in a world that followed different rules. He argued with relatives over his grandfather's estate. He accused his family of betraying him, of trying to cut him out of his rightful inheritance. He spent long hours alone, online, reading about survival, the ocean, and the psychology of isolation. Then, in early 2016, he bought a small boat, a modest, white-hulled vessel he named Chickenpox. He said it would be for fishing, but others wondered if it was a way to escape from a world he couldn't control. The final trip. September 17, 2016, Nathan and his mother, Linda, set out on what should have been a simple fishing trip. But Linda didn't like the sea. She was uneasy. Still, she went. It was an odd trip from the start. That Saturday evening, Nathan drove with Linda from their Vermont home to the Rhode Island coast. The plan, he said, was an overnight fishing trip, just the two of them. Linda wasn't an adventurous sailor. She preferred calm waters and short outings. Friends later said she seemed hesitant, uneasy, but she loved her son and wanted to reconnect. At 11 p.m., surveillance footage at the marina captured them boarding the Chickenpox. It was dark. The sea was calm but endless. Linda sent one final text to a friend, heading out. "Call me if you don't hear from me by noon." It was the last message she would ever send. Hours later, the boat disappeared from radar. No distress call. No flare. No trace. By sunrise, both mother and son had vanished into the Atlantic. The search and the survivor. By sunrise, the Carmans never returned. No calls. No radar signal. The Coast Guard searched the vast Atlantic. Nothing but waves. When Linda failed to show up, family called the police. The Coast Guard launched a search that spanned hundreds of square miles. Planes, helicopters, rescue ships. Days passed. Nothing. Then, on the 8th day, a passing freighter spotted something orange bobbing on the waves, a life raft. Inside sat Nathan Carman, alive but weak. His skin was sunburned, his voice hoarse. 8 days later, Nathan is miraculously found, alone, adrift in a small life raft. No sign of Linda. No trace of the boat. Just one man and 1,000 unanswered questions. Nathan told rescuers the boat had sunk suddenly. He said he tried to find his mother, calling out her name into the dark, but she was gone. He said had survived on a few snacks and rainwater. The world hailed him as a miracle survivor, at least, for a few hours. Then investigators started asking questions. The investigation. Investigators began to question everything. The boat had suspicious holes drilled into it. The bait was never used. The currents didn't match his story. Was it really an accident? Or something darker? The Coast Guard examined what little remained of the Chickenpox. Mechanics at the marina revealed Nathan had removed the boat's trim tabs, vital parts that help stabilize a vessel. Had also patched and drilled holes in unusual places. Experts testified those changes could cause the boat to fill with water and sink. And then there were the details that didn't add up. The live bait Nathan bought for fishing was never opened. The raft was found in a location inconsistent with the ocean's drift pattern. His calm demeanor after 8 days at sea struck rescuers as strange, too composed. Soon, whispers turned into headlines. Did Nathan Carman sink his boat, and his mother? Linda's sisters, grieving and furious, filed civil suits to block him from inheriting family money. They believed Nathan had murdered both his grandfather and his mother for profit. But still, there was no body. No proof. Just suspicion and silence. The motive, money and legacy. Behind it all, money. A multi-million-dollar inheritance. Nathan's grandfather's estate. If Linda were gone, Nathan stood to inherit even more. Money lay like an invisible hand on every chapter of this story. John Shokolaw's estate was worth over $40 million. Each daughter, including Linda, inherited millions. If Linda died without a will, her only heir would be Nathan. Investigators believed he knew that. That the sinking wasn't an accident but a plan, to inherit his mother's fortune and, ultimately, his grandfather's. Nathan denied everything. He called it a family witch hunt. He told reporters, "I would never hurt my mother. She was my best friend." Yet the evidence, or the lack of it, told another story. No debris, no distress call, no witnesses. Only a silent ocean and a raft carrying a single survivor. The arrest and the end. In 2022, Nathan was charged with his mother's murder. He pleaded not guilty. But before the trial could begin, in June 2023, Nathan was found dead in his jail cell, an apparent suicide. After nearly 6 years of investigations, federal prosecutors finally acted. In 2022, Nathan Carman was arrested and charged with his mother's murder and fraud tied to the inheritance. He faced life in prison if convicted. But he never made it to trial. On June 15, 2023, guards at the Cheshire County Jail found Nathan unresponsive in his cell. He was 29. The cause was listed as suicide. With his death, the case effectively ended. No conviction, no acquittal, just unfinished questions floating like debris on dark water. Reflection, secrets of the sea. 2 deaths. 2 investigations. 1 man gone. No closure. Was Nathan a cold-blooded killer, or a misunderstood victim of circumstance? The ocean keeps its secrets. Some say Nathan was a calculating killer who hid his crimes behind waves. Others believe he was a troubled man, misunderstood, and crushed by the weight of suspicion and isolation. But one fact remains: 2 lives lost, and no definitive truth ever found. Thank you for watching Dark Waters. Remember, every mystery leaves behind ripples. Until next time. Stay curious, stay aware, and never stop searching for truth.